I'm Mathias Price, class of 24, running back, Fountain Fort Carson High School, committed to UNC Bears, and you're listening to Playmakers Corner.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. I'm your host for today's episode, Gideon, and today we have a very special guest from the class of 2024. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Hello, I'm Mathias Price.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, Mathias. And where are you from? And what position do you play?
I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I play running back.
Very nice, very nice. And I mean, running back is a pretty fun position. I mean, did you watch the game between the 49ers and the Lions yesterday?
Yes, sir. Sure did.
Oh, if I'm being honest, I was rooting for the Lions, but to see McCaffrey bust out the way he did, that was.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Lions too, and then sadly the 49ers just decided to ruin it. So.
Yeah, but I mean, there is a pretty large Colorado presence on that team. You see Shanahan, who went to Creek, McCaffrey, who obviously went to Valor. How does it make you feel to see Colorado talent showing up and showing out on that kind of stage?
Realistically, it really just gives me hope that maybe one day I can end up on that same type of a scale as them. And I mean, just seeing that somebody inside of the same state as you, obviously it's very minor because you don't see a lot, but seeing somebody that was inside of the same vicinity, inside of the same state, like I went up against a Valor Christian school, I went up against a Cherry Creek school. So it's very, I would say it's very inspiring to see two Colorado kids come up from over here with a low recruiting area and just making it that big. So it's really inspiring.
Yeah, and I mean, not only have you been a pretty big recruit these past couple of years, but I mean, you've played against some of the top talent in the state. I mean, obviously you've had to, you blew out Highlands Ranch pretty bad, but you've faced the likes of Stonebreaker, the insane machine that was Columbine. You go through Regis, Pine Creek. I mean, what's your favorite memory from this past season? That I mean, you've got plenty to choose from there, but.
Realistically, I would have to say my favorite moment throughout the whole season was probably our game against Legend. I would say that was not necessarily because of what I did, because I didn't do anything. I give all my credit to one God and then to my teammate Myron, because my teammate Myron Johnson, I wouldn't have been able to do that without him, and without God, it wouldn't have been possible. But I would definitely have to say Legend was one of the most exciting and just exhilarating games that I've ever been in, because a top tier team like Legend with a bunch of talented kids and just a bunch of hard playing kids on their roster. I mean, to come down to a game where it's literally 2 points or a point, it was exhilarating. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I remember, I'm not going to say too much, but there was somebody who was a Legend fan who was sending us live updates of the game, and with 30 seconds left, they sent okay, game's won, but Fountain Fort Carson's gonna get the ball. Nothing too much is gonna happen with that. And then 5 seconds later, they send a text where they're just so about that. And I mean, I wish that I'd been able to be there for that one. I'm in Fort Collins, so I can't exactly watch that. But
yeah,
I mean, what did you think of the Colorado football community's reaction to that game, if you saw what everybody was saying?
Just being realistic, Obviously, I love my team, but there was a very massive, at least in my opinion, um, I feel like without all of the diehard football fans, you can definitely see that there was a shift inside of like support, and you can definitely see that there was a shift in thinking that Fountain Fort Carson was just going to go back to a like kind of a bad team in a way. And I mean, just seeing the reactions of all that, because obviously Legend was a good team. Like I'm not ever going to discredit nobody and out of anything. I'm a praise because they were a very good team. And so just seeing two teams like that go head to head, I mean, I feel like there was mixed reactions. I mean, obviously on my side, I feel like there was a lot of happy reactions because we were inside of the winning town and everything. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really think that it was necessarily bad for either side. Because I mean, even then, I feel like the Legend boys they played a good game. They had a good game, and I mean, shoot, they played their heart out. But I'd say definitely for our side, there was a lot more happiness around the air. So
Heck yeah. I mean, that feels like a really good lesson to take from it. Like, even though you won, there's no, because I've seen it where a team wins a close game like that, and all of a sudden, the they're like some guys are starting to discredit the effort that the other team's putting in. So it's good that you're staying true to yourself there.
yes, sir.
And that mindset of praise does make me wonder who's someone that you went against who is underrated, like as a player, that you play against them and you're like, oh my goodness, if they were, this is somebody that should have much more opportunity or much more off in terms of offers.
Somebody that I played against. I'm gonna be real. I never really like I'll always try my best to be cordial and even then be friendly with the other side, but I can't necessarily remember too much. If I could recall from memory though, um, let's see. I would definitely say the Pueblo, their quarterback Gavin. That kid right there, he's definitely a beast. And I mean, I know that he gets the credit, or I don't know necessarily, but from what I've seen, it seems like he gets the credit that he deserves. But he's just always been a kid that, like, when we played up against him, we was like, okay, yeah, like this kid's the truth. Not gonna try and sugarcoat it. I'm not even gonna try and hate because there's no point. I'm not gonna be biased. I'm gonna just tell it how it is. He was a good player. I feel like obviously there are rivals, but I think Doherty definitely had some wide receivers that um kind of surprised a lot of people. Um yeah, I can't remember too far back, but those were just a couple.
Yeah. I mean, Solomon and Logan over Doherty, those are two guys that, I mean, I'm happy to see that Solomon was able to get a spot over at Fort Lewis. So
Yeah, without a doubt.
yeah, and I mean, like that series, like now granted, I only made it down to the Springs when I was in middle school, but even then, you hear about the battles there,
Yes,
and
sir.
so yeah, I wish I'd been able to see some of those in person. But I mean, you played against some really, really good talent. You mentioned some of them there. Is there anyone that you heard about when you were playing and that they never quite made it onto the schedule and that you wish that you had been able to play against?
Um, I mean, realistically, I don't really know. I feel like I mean, I guess the only team that I wish we could have played up against only because they're such good, well mannered, like such good, well mannered young men. And I mean, I just feel like they're a bunch of good young players that just have just continuing going up and up. I think is Valid Christian, but other than that, I don't really think about anything else because I feel like our schedule it was good. So I mean, I don't really see nobody being replaced, but I would love I would have loved to have played Valor Christian just because of the pure competition levels that they bring and the amount of good players that they have. And yeah, I think that would have been one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when it comes to developing good talent, I mean, that they had that one edge rusher, Alex Jordan, this year, who I think he's going to. Yeah, I think he's going to like Penn or something like that.
Oh wow.
And I was just like, holy crap! Like watching some of the film that Simon and Cody put together. I was kind of
Yeah,
amazed by watching that.
that's amazing.
Yeah, kind of wish I'd been able to see him go up against Lincoln.
Yeah, that definitely would have been the battle of the giants for real.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Lincoln, like you've had some pretty top tier teammates both this year and last year.
Yeah.
How would you describe, like, who are some teammates that you'd like to single out that you've worked with and interacted with, or just players in the off season in general, that have had an impact on your game, and how would you describe that impact?
Oh, that's a tough question. That's a tough question to ask. I can't I can't really single out nobody. I'm gonna be honest, only because of just I feel like my team all around, we all did a very good job in making sure that we all kept each other in that kind of mindset where it's like iron sharpens iron. So I can't necessarily point out any singular teammates because I mean at the end of the day we got as far as we got because we all collaborated and did that as a team. So I mean I'm on the offensive side, of course, I'm just gonna credit the whole offense, specifically the offensive line and the receivers, because those guys they're phenomenal. Like the offensive line, they get down and dirty inside of the pit, inside of the you know what I'm saying? Like they do all the dirty work. Receivers sometimes
Yeah.
they have to go out and go do that dirty work too. But yeah, I would definitely say like our defense and offense, I can't single out any players, only because I feel like that would be very unfair to a lot of them because there's too much to just single out one. Like they're all amazing young men and they're all amazing players.
Well, hey, I mean that's also completely fair. You've had there's a lot of dudes in the
Yeah,
Springs, and I mean, being from the area, you see a bunch of guys who, I mean, probably should be going D1,
yeah,
and eventually see them end up at not that a D2 school is bad, like that's still being able to play on the next level, but certainly not what it could be. So yeah, it's good that you're giving acknowledgement to your guys, and yeah, I mean if they all helped you, then they all helped you.
yes, sir.
And actually on that topic of local talent being overlooked, do you believe that, like, based on what you've seen, that Colorado talent is overlooked compared to national level talent? And why do you think that is?
I would definitely have to agree with that. Because I mean, there's a lot of players on my team that not only have like a good physical stature, but I feel like have a lot of good football IQ and enough film and enough like film and playmaking skills to really project that they are a top prospect. But I mean, I just feel like with Colorado and with its scouting, like with how scouting is over here, there's not much real opportunities that you're gonna get. I mean, there's some every here and now, every once in a while, but those are you only get those if you either known somebody or if your coach is a really good recruiter. So I mean, realistically speaking, there's a lot of guys that I've seen throughout my time, not even just playing at Fountain, but playing at another school or just going and watching other schools, keeping up on all these guys inside of the Springs and just watching them and watching their film, watching the way that they play the game, the way that they change the game and their IQ on the game, just watching all of that and seeing them go somewhere that they could have went higher. It's a little bit disheartening, to say the least. But yeah, I would say it's very underwhelming.
Yeah, and that completely makes sense. I mean, like I'm looking here at the list of Colorado guys who committed to an in-state school, which I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I'm seeing this list of guys, and I'm thinking about half of these guys who are going to the RMAC probably could find a spot at a good FCS school, or probably could find a spot, or some of these guys that are going to like a Wyoming probably could be going to a bigger program. So that completely makes sense.
Yep.
And I mean, looking back a little bit, we've talked a little bit about like the favorite game that you've played in and the different opponents you faced, some of your teammates. And while it is good to talk about like the games that you've been in,
Yeah.
what's been your favorite sport viewing experience? So it could be any sport, could be any time of your life. But what's your favorite?
I mean, I like to watch basketball in my spare time. I would definitely have to say I do love watching football. Obviously, during the season I couldn't, but it's either between basketball or football. But I'm mainly leaning towards the football side.
Okay. And is there like a favorite game that you've watched, or is there like a yeah? What's your favorite like game to have watched?
Um, it is gonna sound a little bit like realistically, it was Columbine and Cherry Creek. I loved watching that game, not because I was necessarily wanting one team or another to lose, because I supported Columbine all the way. Like how you said earlier, there are a bunch of studs on that team. That is a very amazing, talented, hard working team with a bunch of good young players. And then just watching the two equally earned colossus of the state just going at it and just competing, going for that state championship. It was a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, that game was insane to cover because I was just like standing on the sideline. Something new and crazy would happen every
Yeah,
like you couldn't blink without something insane happening.
yeah,
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 I got a really good angle of that catch that Maxwell Lovett had, where
yeah,
he grabbed it. The defender tried to take it, and then he like just tore it out of the defender's arms and kept going for a couple yards.
yep. That was a crazy catch.
Oh goodness. And I mean, sometimes with guys like Maxwell or like some of the linemen that played in that game, you can kind of tell who they model their game after. So who would you say that you model your game on the field after?
Um, Realistically, I try to come at the game of football in a very balanced way. I don't want to necessarily just be a strictly heavy back or power back like a Jerome Bettis or anything like that. That's not my goal. My goal is to remain a very balanced and very unpredictable type of running back. So I mean, I like to model my game after big backs inside of the league, such as Adrian Peterson, Derrick Henry, Eric Dickerson, like just a lot of those bigger, heavier running backs, but not too heavy, and a lot of those big running backs that they expected to be slow, but they're not slow. So, like I try to balance my game in a way where I'm a very unpredictable player and I'm a player that brings a lot of surprises. And I think that when you watch somebody like Derrick Henry, like Adrian Peterson, you look at them and you're like, okay, well, he's 6'2", da 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 da. Maybe he's slow. And then you watch them out on the field and it's a whole different story. So those are the main names that I try to model my game after. And obviously there's more, but those are the main.
Yeah, and that actually kind of makes me think because there was There was one back that we were evaluating where, like, one of the criticisms that we had of his game is that he was actually too big at that position. Do you think there is such a thing as a running back being too big?
I think I'm not going to be the one to necessarily say anything because at the end of the day, I just play the game and I'm not going to be the one to stand inside of anybody's way of what they want to do, what they want to play, and how they want to achieve it or do that. Um, I mean, I think that if you're a big back, you're 245, 250. I'm not going to tell you you're too big. I'm going to just tell you you're going to be a bastard to bring down. If you were doing good at your position, shoot, you do good at your position, you having fun, you do what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to support everybody. Everybody, you go chase your dreams. But if you're that big and if you're able to do what you do, shoot, that's your trouble for the defense. You enjoy it. Have your fun.
Oh, very, very good. Very good. When you were listening to the episode, what was your reaction to our evaluation of your game?
I think that my reaction, it wasn't necessarily bad. I think that I'm always going to take constructive criticism. And I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are the analysts of the game. So if you guys know the game, you guys watch the game. Obviously, everybody's going to have different opinions, and everybody's going to have different criticisms. So to some opinions, they might be different from what their opinions was. But I think I don't think that I was necessarily angry. I listened to it, and I mean, while going through it, it's not like they were just totally slamming me, or it's not like they were just slandering me. Um, I think they both brought in a little bit of tough love and a little bit of constructive criticism to the point where it was like, look, like, you're a good running back, and there's just some things that you need to work on, and that's okay. And at the end of the day, I look at that, I listen to it, and I'm like, you know what? That's understandable. I mean, at the end of the day, I know that I'm not the perfect player, and I'm not going to sit here, come up here, and act like I'm the best running back ever, or I'm the best running back in the state. Because at the end of the day, got to keep myself humble, and I understand that I have flaws inside of my game like anybody else. So when I was listening to it, I was actually thankful because at the end of the day, they're the ones that's helping me improve on my game, and they're the ones that are helping me understand what some flaws are that I just need to work on. So I'm nothing but thankful.
Well, hey, that's that. Let me tell you now, that is a mindset that will serve you very, very well in life.
Thank
Because, yeah, like the granted, I don't do the evaluations. That's on Simon and Cody, but I know that they approach it from the mindset of we want to help these guys improve to the best of our abilities.
Yep.
And it's good that you're seeing that for what it is. Of we want to see you get better. We want to see you succeed.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, just being able to recognize that and recognize like I have to do self-assessments all the time at work of what can I do better, and that is a very good life skill. So
Yes, sir.
and I mean, obviously, like in the evaluation, something that Simon and Cody both singled you out on as being really like as your highest graded skills were your speed and your power, along with vision. So what? But in your own words, how would you describe your best like two or three like qualities that separate you from other backs, it both in Colorado and nationwide?
I would definitely say I do agree with them on my speed. Being a bigger back, um, there are a lot of negatives that could come with it. Like I could have been slower than molasses, just being honest. But I think that I do agree with them, and I do think that my speed is definitely something that not only I have been told, but that I've recognized that can really make a game, or that can be a game changer, because there's a lot of big backs, but not a lot of them can be necessarily quick. So I'm obviously thankful to the Almighty, to my God. Thank you. But I think that that's one of the greatest things that is a little bit of recognizable about my game. Um, my vision, I would definitely say, it's my vision is only as good as my linemen and my wide receivers bless it to be. So out of anything, I'm thankful to my O line and to my wide receivers, because they're the ones that gave me those opportunities in order to not only improve on my vision, but get what I got. So all my thanks goes out to them. And then you said the other one was what?
The other one was power and explosiveness.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I try my best. I would definitely say, like, when you look at it, I mean, I'm not really one to talk about my own game. I just listen to the critics and improve on what I need to improve on. But I mean, all I could say is I guess I can agree. I don't. I mean, if that's what they saw, then that's what they saw was good, and I'm glad that that's what they saw. So, but I would definitely have to agree with them. I would say that my explosiveness has gotten better over the years, and I just hope that I can continue to improve on not only all the things that they consider my strengths, but all the things that they consider my weaknesses too.
Well, darn, there you go. Yeah, and I mean, you talked about them a bit there when you were talking about your vision of you're only as good as your line, and you're only as good as the guy around you allow you to be.
Yeah.
And I mean, we going into the season, obviously there were a couple of questions losing what you did heading into this year, and you had a hole at the quarterback spot,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you have. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I heard it say. Funny story, actually. I forget his name, but your tight end was selected for a promotional game for the Rocky Mountain Vibes, which is where I worked over the summer.
Yeah.
And I just asked him, "Hey, who's the quarterback this season?" And he said Colton.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I didn't think he'd actually answer that question. But like going through the season from start to finish, or actually, first, what was your reaction to our season preview? Because we didn't have that info until after the preview had already come out. So what was your first reaction?
My reaction has always been a little bit subtle. I mean, obviously to some players, they're gonna be a little bit offended because, I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, when all you hear talks about is, well, you lost your quarterback, you lost your linebacker, and you lost your tight end. How are you guys gonna come back? How do you think you guys are gonna do? Oh, well, I think that they're gonna do bad. To some of the players, they're not gonna really take that the right way. But I think to me, I feel like it only did nothing but just drive not only me but our team to just become something better than what our last year's team was, or to show through our actions and through the games, like, hey, we're still the same Fountain Fort Carson team with or without them. And I'm not discrediting them boys. I'm not being rude. I'm not saying none of that, because they're all phenomenal players and it's all nothing but love. But I do believe that a lot of people did think that there was going to be a decline, and I think that a lot of people did believe that we were going to do a little bit bad this year. And so when I was listening to it, I didn't necessarily take it the wrong way, because I mean, it comes with the nature of the beast. You lose three good players, and that comes every time. But I think that it did nothing but just help us with fuel and just give us like poster board like motivation. And it was like, okay, well, this is what they said, so we're just gonna show them different.
Very good. I said it on all my season previews where I like that. I felt really bad for my season previews because there was a team where I was like, they're probably going to go win this. Not you guys, but like I think it was Prospect Ridge where I was like, listen, I want you guys to prove me wrong. This is just me acting on the information I have. So, I mean, it's good to hear that you guys used that as poster board material of like, we want to prove this wrong. We want to, keep pushing forward and keep getting up there. And so obviously that's like right in the preseason. As you said, you lose. I mean, you lose guys like Tavian, you lose guys like Josiah and Ty and a lot of good players. But when you start getting into like, could you tell me like a week by week of like your first inter squad scrimmage, like all the way through the season, like the good, the bad, the funny, like just like a week by week.
So for our first week when we did our scrimmage against I think it was Cherokee Trail, we came in primarily with the objective just to improve for everybody. So I mean, it wasn't no crazy type of scrimmage, and it wasn't anything like, okay, we're gonna go take these guys' heads off. But I think it was more of just an improvement for both sides. And I hope that Cherokee Trails team did good. I didn't really keep up with them, but I wish nothing but the best for them too. And then after that, we had Valor Christian. Once again, hope they did good with their season. But when we scrimmaged them, there was some people, because obviously we had a fairly young team. So for some people, they're like, okay, we're going up against Valor Christian. And when you hear the name Valor Christian, you're like, okay, like this is a team not to be reckoned with. But I think that once they started getting in and started competing and playing, we just saw that we was able to compete with big teams like that if we really put our mind to it and if we're really determined and just having that drive to do so. And then after that, that's when we had our first game against Falcon. That was a truly, I mean, it was the first game, first Friday night, lights back, and who knows how long. There was a lot of nervous people, but there was a lot of people that was ready to go and just locked in and ready to get back out under them lights. And I think that obviously we was a little bit rusty, but after we got through that game, it was lights out after that. Once everybody started getting inside of their rhythm, once everybody started feeling the game back, it was nothing but green light for everybody. And then shortly after that, we came back and we played up again. I think it was against Highlands Ranch. That game was a truly phenomenal game because not only did we get our win back from last year, but we ended up beating them by a lot. But once again, no discredit because they were an amazing team. And then after that, we had Pueblo West. Pueblo West has always been a good team. Very hard, gritty, just really hard hitting team. Just a team filled with a lot of drive and passion. So there's nothing much bad to say about them, especially since they gave us a very good game too. And then let's see who was shortly after that.
Pomona, I think.
Oh yeah, Pomona. Pomona, that game was truly amazing because not only was we playing in the soaking rain, like it was raining, it was bad, but it was such a hard, gritty game because of the rain, and it was so much fun. Them boys are so competitive. They're hard hitting, gritty. Like every team that we played, I'm gonna just stop right here, give my praise because they're all phenomenal, hard working kids. They're all phenomenal football players at that, and they all gave us some good competition. So it's nothing but praise to them boys. But yeah, Pomona, that was a very fun game. We was in the rain. It was nice and competitive. You could feel the juices. Everybody's just amped up. It was phenomenal. A great game.
Yeah, so some guys never play in a game like that in their lives, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. And then let's see, after Pomona, my memory's a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna need some help because my memory is a little bit shaky.
Hey, you're all good. It's Doherty right after that.
Oh, yep, the divisional, or not divisional, because we don't got that, but our rivals of our schools. Um, Doherty, they have a lot of negative light around them because of the past previous seasons and records, but even from me, because I'm a rival, this is a total, like, for some it's gonna be a biased opinion, but like, I don't think that they were a bad team. And this is coming from their rivals. Like, usually you would have somebody talking crap or saying something, but I think that they were a very good team. And I think that with what they showed last year, they have potential to be a team that can come up on the rise. And I mean, I just think that they just had a bunch of just good young men, like, just ready to go play some ball. I don't know. I think that they're going to be a very good team throughout the future. But playing them, it was exciting. Like, obviously there are rivals. It was a shield game, so it's either we lose the shield or we keep the shield, because if we would have lost the shield, we would have lost it for a long time, because we don't get to play them boys after this. But we kept the shield, and I mean, it was a very good game. I mean, like I said, those receivers and that tight end, they were doing very good. They were giving our defense some yards, but I think that they were a very good team to play against. Who was the team after Doherty?
Pine Creek.
Okay, that one was a little bit of a heartbreaker, only because that was another rival game, a game that we wanted to win, considering the last year we lost to them too. But that one was a little bit closer. Um, that game, it was heartbreaking, without a doubt, because getting beat like that is not something that you really want to go through. But what I will say is, they were a very good team, very disciplined. Um, they have very talented players. Um, and I mean, they just have a lot of talent, hard work, and I mean, them boys over there, they're just very good at what they do, and there's nothing much
Yeah.
that you could really say. So all praise to them. Hope all of them are doing good. After Pine Creek, that was who?
That was Legend at that point.
Oh, oh,
Though I do have just one quick question about Pine Creek there.
yes, sir.
Uh, so, did you was Colton still healthy at this point in the season? I forget.
No, sir. Colton, he ended up getting hurt way earlier in the season. It was during the I think it was the Highlands Ranch game.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So he ended up coming
So,
out fairly early.
okay. I mean, he was having a pretty good start to the season. Do you think that, like, let's say even just that game against Douglas County, do you think that that may have gone differently if he had been there? Or, I mean, not to go too much in on speculation, but
Yeah. I think that obviously it would have been a little bit different, only because he was our starting QB. So I mean, losing your starting QB and then having to train up your second string like that, which Caleb, our second string quarterback, all praise to him, because him having to come off of the bench like that, having to step up inside of a position like that and just lead the offense and do stuff like that is very hard to do that later on in the season when you're behind somebody else. So but yeah, I do think that it would have went a little bit different, only because he was our starting quarterback. But I think it would have been a little bit, yeah.
okay, yeah. So, I just wanted to see what you thought about that. But okay, back to it. We were on Legend. That's what it was.
Yes, Legend. This was a very good game. I mean, we're going up against another Denver school. Like, ain't nothing get better than that. Um, I think Legend, they did put up a very good fight. I mean, whenever you're going up against a Denver school, obviously they get more recognition than Springs, but for a good reason. I mean, they're fairly just as good as Springs boys, so I mean, I could see why. But I think that that was a very good game. I mean, from the very start, you could feel the competition. You could just feel the tension in the air, and this is going to be for every game. But I mean, every game is still feels special to you. So playing up against a top tier team like this with a lot of talented kids that they had on their team, it was a very good game. It was very back and forth. So they would do something big, and then it would be us, and then it would be them, and then that's when it came down to it. They thought, like, everybody in the crowds thought, okay, this is going to be a legend win, because to be fair, we was losing, and at that point in time when they was doing that punt, it didn't really seem like Fallon had a chance of coming back. But our young stud Myron Johnson, he's a phenomenal kid on and off the field, just such a freaking stud. He goes and he blocks it, and then after that, we call a play to run it in, and it gets ran in, and then we win the game, and it was all a phenomenal game. Very very risky. Not even gonna lie, it was very risky, but it was a very fun game. It was one of those games where you're holding your breath because I'm sitting on the sideline and I'm just like, okay, okay, let's see what the defense can do. But they delivered. They came and they came ready. They delivered. But yeah, that game was nothing but fun. I mean, them legend boys, they know how to play ball. So it was a very fun game.
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, that you're relying on the defense, and defense wins championships. So
Yep. Oh, without a doubt.
yeah, and goodness, and then you had another extremely close game just the next week against Douglas County.
Yeah. That one we definitely wanted to win against that team, but I mean they came off of last year. Last year, obviously, we kind of beat them, and it wasn't really pretty the way that we beat them. So it's understandable that they came ready and they was like, look, like, we're gonna get this back. So that's understandable. I mean, it was a very good game, very hard played game. Like, they came ready to play. I mean, there's really nothing else to say about it. Them boys came ready to play and they performed. They did everything right when they needed to, and I mean, they just simply got the win. There's nothing bad to say. There's there's no bad blood. I mean, they just wanted their winner just as much as we wanted ours. And I mean, at the end of the day, they ended up performing their best. We gave it our best, and we just simply made some mistakes, including me. I'm gonna take accountability for me. It was a little bit saddening when I did get a little bit of a fumble later on during that game, but and I took accountability for that. Told my teammates I'm sorry, but later on we came back that next week and we played up against who was it?
Chaparral.
Yep, Chaparral. We came back that next week and against our game against Chaparral, it was lights out. We just did our best. We just came off of a heartbreaking loss. You know, like, everybody's amped. Everybody's like, you know what? Like, nah, like, you can't let a game like that, especially of how close it was, affect your next games and how the season's gonna end. So I mean, when we came back to that, we just came back with the intention to win and to win by a lot. And like I said, once again, no discredit to Chaparral. We just came out there, we did our best, but they played their best ball, and we played ours. And it's no discredit, it's no none of that, because at the end of the day, they're a good team too. So I mean, it was very much of a personal game, because we wasn't coming back just to horse play around or to do anything of that such. We came back ready because we was tired of what just happened that previous day, and so we was ready, or that previous week. So
Yeah, you're not going to toy with your food after what happened
yes,
against
sir.
DC. Yeah, that makes sense. And then, I mean, the very next week you had another really tough matchup against Regis.
Yep, that game. Going up against Regis, they were another top tier team. There's Like I said, I mean, I'm just gonna say it how it is. They're a good team. They had a very good defense. Their linebackers was good. Their corners and safeties, their D line, like, everybody has a good team. Everybody, if you have the right boys, which everybody does. I mean, you call the correct plays, you make them when you need to, you're gonna win. And I mean, that's exactly what they did. They came out, they played their best ball. They executed on the plays that they needed to, and we just needed to do the same. But we ended up falling short a little bit that night, and that's okay. It happens. But I mean, I feel like our boys, we played our best ball. Even with the loss like that, I mean, our boys, they were still working hard. Like our boys giving all their effort, and like I said, sometimes it just doesn't work out. But yeah, that was a very intense game, um, and it was a very good game to play. A very fun game.
It's always back when I did speech and debate in high school,
Yeah,
and I mean I was always scared to face like some of the top talent, but when I found out my senior year at state I was going up against the guy who would win nationals the year before,
yeah,
I was like, holy, like I was. It's always a pleasure to go against talent like that, and
yes,
that,
sir.
that and I mean I didn't win, but I put up a fight, so
Yeah,
that's part of the. So I understand that feeling, and I mean then the very next week, the playoffs get announced. And actually, before we get to your first playoff game, like looking at the bracket from last
yeah.
season, uh, well, that you remember, was there anything that surprised you from looking at that playoff bracket?
The second round, I mean, just playing one of the best teams in the state. I mean, nothing crazy, nothing bad, but that was a little bit surprising. Seeing coming off of a win against Eagle Crest and then having to play the best team in the state, you're a little bit worrisome. You're a little bit like, okay, we went from Eagle Crest and no discredit to Eagle Crest, but we went from Eagle Crest all the way up to one of the top tiers in the state that's winning back-to-back championships. This is a little bit crazy, but I mean, we went in, we did our best last year, and I mean, obviously we know the outcome, but at the end of the day, our boys played the best ball that they could have played, and I mean, Cherry Creek, they're always going to be a good school. So I mean, it was unfortunate, but I mean, I couldn't have been happier. We played up against some top tier talent. We got to saw some of the best of the best. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. You get to play up against them, and like I said, sharp, like how I said earlier, iron sharpens iron. So when you're playing up against a team like that, you come back the next season and you have a task, you have a mission, and that's exactly what they gave us. So
Heck yeah. I mean, you're going against the eventual champs. I mean, that there isn't really any shame in that.
yeah,
And but I mean, looking at this first round matchup, that you're going up against a Penn State commit at quarterback. Like, and what did you have? Like 5, 6 touchdowns in that game?
yeah.
Like some insane number. Like, what were you thinking when? I mean, what were you just thinking during that entire game? Because that's the type of game that, like, we had people in the comment section of our TikTok being like, "Yo, who is that? Does he have any offers?" And they were talking about you.
I didn't even recognize. I did not know. But
Well, it wasn't like recruiters. It was just people being like, "Holy goodness, who's this?"
yeah, yeah. After a game like that, we came into that game because we saw your guys' pregame prediction. I think it was um
Oh no.
y'all playoff prediction. Y'all had them beating us, which rubbed us the wrong way. Not gonna lie, but not in a bad way. Like when I say rub us in the wrong way, I'm never gonna discredit my team because my team, they're not like sissy kids. They're not kids that can't take constructive criticism or anything, but they're the kids that look at stuff like that and they're like, okay, that you want to put your money against us, we're gonna make you regret that. And that's exactly what we tried to do. After seeing everybody just blew Fountain off. Everybody was like, okay, nah, we're taking Fairview over Fountain for Carson, and it's not gonna be, and it's gonna be by a lot. Like y'all had us losing to them by a pretty good amount. And it wasn't even just Playmakers Corner. It was a lot of people. A lot of people had that fountain, which is understandable though. I mean, when you're looking at the stats, I mean, you look at the schedule, you look at the wins and losses. I mean, you look at the weapons on each team, and at first glance, you're gonna think that it is Fairview, but I mean, we just went out there and we just tried to show people like I don't like we tried to show people that we were a better team than everybody thought we was. And so going up against a top tier team like that and doing what we did, it was very encouraging to us because it's like, okay, like we just did that against a top team that everybody thought was just gonna smoke us. Like, you know what, this is gonna be a good game. Like we gonna go in, have a good week. But yeah, I mean, I think it was fairly fun. I mean, like I said, we're going up against a Penn State commit. We're going up against probably some other commits that I don't really know about, but we're going up against a good amount of kids. We're going up against a good team, talented players. Like, okay. And then, yeah, I mean, it was an intense game through and through. I mean, just like I said, seeing the predictions before the game, that gave us fuel. Then we get out on the field. We start doing our warm-ups. We start doing stuff like that. We hear the trash talk. We hear all the disrespect, so we come out ready. Boom. First play of the game, we come out ready. And, I mean, just throughout that game, it was such an amazing experience. I mean, you feel the tension. You feel you feel all of it, and you're just like, okay, like, this is going to be an amazing game. And so by the end of it, when we did what we did, yeah, it was a good win, a good hard fought win because our players, I mean, every single game they just played their hearts out, and with that game, it was just nonstop effort, determination, just to get the job done and get the job done quick. So yeah,
Heck yeah. And I mean, as I said earlier, always glad to be proven wrong, but it's also good to you guys proved us wrong with your pads. Like, I will just straight up own up to the facts that of the four of us. So when you said that, I went back and double checked all our predictions. I'll own up to it. I had the widest score disparity. I said it would be like a 10 to 14 point game.
yeah,
I was wrong. But I always appreciate being proven wrong on that. And I mean, just looking at it, that I mean, from all the stuff that Gino said, from the film that he showed us, that was just an intense matchup. And I mean, it kind of plays back into that thing of like it's the Springs versus Boulder in a sense, which people are given those two choices.
yep.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with that. So it was certainly good to see you guys get that upset. Good to see you show out against that type of talent. And I mean, you still had a pretty darn good season all around. So what do you think separated this particular Trojan team from your competitors in 5A, and I mean even across all classifications?
Yeah, and thank you for earlier. I think what separated like the Fountain team from any other team that I've played against, like that we went against, everything like that, is just I feel like we had a sense of determination and camaraderie. Like every single week, we tried our best to not only hold each other accountable, but push each other to the best abilities that we could have been pushed to. We're not going to sit here and just let our teammates fall to the lowest potential that they could. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, we all tried our best to help out every other player that we could. So, I mean, just seeing how we all collaborated with each other, seeing the IQ of other football players and just all matching and just bringing it in as one, like, it was so crazy just seeing how much IQ these guys have on this team. Like, there's a lot of players on this team that have like renowned football IQ. Like, it's crazy. They just have phenomenal IQ. And then seeing them out in practice, seeing your brothers go out there and put in their blood, sweat, and tears into it, I can tell like we have some of the most hardworking boys and young men that I've ever seen. I mean, whether that's from our freshmen all the way up to our seniors, it's nothing but hard work. It's nothing but determination, and it's nothing but intelligence. And it's absolutely like uncomparable to any other team that I've played against, talked to. Like, it's crazy.
I mean, heck, that's a the work ethic, and like that's the most important part of life, really. And I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
just hearing you talk about how hard you guys are working and how much they're working to constantly improve is really, I mean, it gives me hope for the future of the program.
Yep. And I
And oh, you go.
it's good, but I was just saying, like, I hope so, because I mean, I just want to give my praise too a little bit, because I think that um you guys really should keep your eyes out on Final Four Carson. I mean, whatever happens, happens. I mean, you could quote me if I'm wrong, but I'm always gonna put my faith inside of my team. And I think with if these boys take their sport as serious as we do, and if they want to develop themselves, and if they take the initiative to really push themselves into a state where they can go somewhere bigger, I mean, I think you should keep your eyes out, because there is a lot of kids on that team, like on offense and defensive side. Shoot, I'll name a lot too. There's just talent. I think you guys should just keep your eyes out for, man. There's so much talented kids.
I mean, that was the very next question, actually. Who are some teammates of yours who we should be looking out for next year?
I would definitely have to say there's that kid that blocked the field goal, Myron Johnson. He is, wow, as a young linebacker, that young man can hit hard. He can hit hard. He has good football IQ. That man, he is a young force to not be reckoned with. That man, he is worth. He speaks with his pads. He doesn't speak with his mouth. He speaks with his pads. But I would definitely have to say, obviously, starting from the juniors, you gotta keep your eyes on Alex Rivera, Tremaine Shaw, on the defensive side. I mean, like those two guys at the corner and safety position, they're just some dogs. Like, there's nothing else that comes better than that. Um, and then I'd say for the offensive side, I would definitely have to say look out for dudes like Tyshawn Miller, Ryan. I can't say his last name because I'm a butcher it, but wide receiver Ryan. Um, I would definitely have to say look out for Colton, but a lot of people know Colton. So um, I would definitely have to say Terrence Morris and that young running back group, because obviously I'm gonna have a little bit of bias, but I would say keep your eyes out on that running back room, especially Terrence, because he was lightning this year, and that's coming from me. Like, that man, he came out hot and he was not playing. So I would definitely say there are a lot of players, and those are just to name a few. But yeah, those boys, they're on the watch list, and they need to be carefully analyzed, because them boys, they got game.
I mean, heck, some of those names are names I heard before, but I'm gonna be keeping an eye out for guys like Alex, and I'm gonna give Ryan's last name a shot here. Is it? I think it's Menogdo or something like that.
Uh,
But
see, I would attempt it, but I don't want to butcher, so I couldn't tell you.
hey, fair enough. And yeah, and Terrence, and yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that RB room here for a long, long while, because I mean, you came out of it, so they must be doing something right, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh, yeah, and I mean that that does make me wonder, because when we were getting towards our end of season awards
Yeah.
and we were looking at different guys around the state, well, one thing we said for certain, like no brainer, was okay. Mathias Price needs to be on that MVP list, and I mean, for me personally, you had my vote on
Yeah.
that. So, well, I mean, didn't didn't end up going your way, but you came in second on that, and you made our all PMC running back spot.
Yeah.
So what was your reaction to, I mean, not just those awards, but all state, like all conference, all that?
My reaction, I mean, first things first, I mean, what I try to do, I give all my thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, there's nothing that I can do without him by my side. I give all my praise. I give all my glory up to God, because at the end of the day, he's the one that blessed me and endured me with all my abilities and everything that I can do. So I give all my thanks and praise up to him first. But after that, I mean, my reactions, they were a little bit, I try not to get caught up in all that realistically. So, I mean, looking at it, my honest reaction was, okay, hey, that's cool. And then I went back on to going what I need to do to get done to become even better than that. So, I mean, looking at all of it, I'm always going to be thankful, not only just to God, but I'm always going to be thankful that you guys and other guys in the state have recognized all the hard work that I've put in, and just recognizing the things that I've done, not only in season but in the off season, to really try and, I mean, achieve what I've achieved. And so, I mean, I'm just nothing but thankful. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be cocky and be like, oh, well, I feel like it's deserved. No, I mean, at the end of the day, anything can happen. I think that I'm nothing but thankful, and I'm nothing but grateful. I mean, I'm grateful that you guys thought about me, and I mean, you guys saw the work that I put in, and you guys was like, okay, yeah, I think this is a top tier kid. And I mean, I'm nothing but thankful. I mean, there's nothing really else to say. I'm nothing but thankful.
Hey, fair enough. And I mean, it's good to have them. I think Jokic said something kind of like that right after he won the championship, where he was like, I can't let that distract me too much, because I need to keep working to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but I know that's kind of sidetracking, but what you said just reminded me of that.
Oh yeah, no, and I agree with that. I mean, whatever you do in the past is what you achieved in the past. So I mean, you can't get caught up too much in there, or you're just gonna be stuck in the glory days.
And eventually you'll turn into that. Have you seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually you turn into Uncle Rico. But
yeah, up that way.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about like the team and how they've helped you, and how you've been influenced in life, and how you've gotten to where you're at. But what is unique about Fountain Fort Carson, both, well, I mean, I guess separately, like what's unique about Trojan athletics, and then what's unique about the Fountain Fort Carson community?
I would definitely say coming in from a different school, and just coming in from being around different schools, I mean, you see the sort of professionalism that Fountain Fort Carson has, and you're a little bit surprised by it, because coming into Fountain, coming in and doing all these workouts, you're kind of like, okay, this is a little bit different than just doing squats and power cleans all the time. Like, they actually have a schedule, they have a strength and conditioning coach. Like, okay, this is okay, let's get into it then. Seeing that, I mean, you come into it and it's all business. Like, you get in, and obviously they have their fun because they're still in high school coaching, but they get you right. If you want the help, they're gonna give you the help, and they're gonna make sure that you succeed at a high level. So I mean, coming in and not even just observing the football aspect of it, like, you look at shoot, swim, tennis, like basketball, track. You look at all of these staff, and you're just like, wow, like, these sports, they all have a lot of coaches that have either played the game and done well and went up into a professional level inside of their game, or they just really know what they're talking about. And so I mean, like, just like you could go and watch any Fountain for Carson sport, even soccer, because I forgot that one too. I mean, like, you just look and you watch all of these teams and you're like, wow, like these kids come with a little bit of professionalism because of what their coaches teach them, and they come with a lot of IQ because of what the coaches have given them from their experiences of playing the sport too. And so I mean, just seeing that, it's a little bit crazy. And then when you go to like basketball games, football games, like you really see the Trojan community come out. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think that there was much of them, but when I came over there and when I started playing, I was like, yeah, this community is active. Like, they're really active with the sports. Like, they come out. There's a lot of supporters. There's a lot of diehard supporters too. Like, it's crazy. I never expected to see anything like it, but I mean, it's such a loving community and it's such a supportive community. I mean, like, after every game, it's nothing but praise from the parents, and not even from just parents, from little kids. Like, it's praises from all around. It's an amazing community. It's really loving and accepting, and it's filled with a lot of beautiful people. Just it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, if there's anything I can, I mean, I haven't spent too much time in like the Fountain Fort Carson area in particular, but if there's one thing I can say about the Springs is, oh, they stick with their guys,
Yep.
and loyalty is a really big thing.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, now I know that you played both of your playoff games on the road this year, but from what I heard, the Trojan community still showed out, even though it was Boulder and Littleton. What's different about like playoff football and like preparation and just the processes that surround that from regular season football?
Oh man, it's way different. I mean, from the regular season, I mean, depending on what your record is, obviously there's always going to be another game. So like when you're in the regular season, you lose week one, it's like, okay, it's the first week. We have 9 more games to go. But when you get inside of the postseason, when you're inside of them playoffs, it's either you win or you go home. And so I think when you're really playing inside of the playoffs, like, it's like I said, it's either you win or you lose. So when you go on to the next round, lose, you stay home. And so I mean, when you're coming into the playoffs, you're coming into the playoffs with the idea of winning, and winning by a lot. Like, you don't want to come in and just lousy and be like, okay, well, it's this team that we're playing, because you can't do that, especially inside of the playoffs, because now everybody's hungry and now everybody's playing for the same thing you're playing for. I would definitely say the preparation is different, because every week from when you become a playoff team, it becomes a lot harder for you and your team, because it's like, okay, look, like, these are the mistakes that we're making, and these are the mistakes that we can't make against a team like this. So if you want to win and if you want to make it on to the next round, you can't make the same mistakes that you just made this last week or the week prior. So I mean, the preparation has always come willing to learn. Um, and I mean, just come willing to take criticism and just get better for not only yourself but for the team. Um, so I would definitely say that the preparation is more significant and it's way more intense. And I would say the atmosphere around it, it's a lot more intense too. When you're playing in playoffs, the parents and the supporters are all going to be feeling the same thing you're feeling. They want to see their boys and they want to see their team go on and make it as far as they can inside of the playoffs. And so, I mean, it's all intense.
I mean, that makes sense to me. That I remember my junior year. We we ended up making it to state, and
Yeah,
just which like playoffs, and I mean state's part of playoffs, but like the difference.
yeah,
It, but even still, like going through each round, you play. Funny thing is, the first round we played the team that we had played in the last week of the regular season.
yeah.
But like every week the intensity just got higher, and every week the feeling of, wait a minute, I'm 1 week closer to never playing again. for a lot of those guys was coming, which, and the target on your back just grows bigger as the season goes on, right? Where it's like everybody wants to take a shot at you.
Yep.
Oh my. But I mean, at a certain point, well, I mean, not at a certain point, but when it comes to you individually, there was a certain point when you had to take a moment and be like, okay, I have to focus on my own career and what we're going to be looking at moving forward. And so when it comes to recruiting for you, what did that process look like? Like, what were you prioritizing from the schools that you were looking at and the programs that you were trying to join?
For me, I don't just being perfectly upfront, and I mean just being real. I don't think that being inside of the state that we're in, I necessarily have the ability to make choices and to be as fruitful with my choices and like, okay, well, here's my choice here, here, and here. So I'm gonna just do what I need to do, or I'm gonna just pick and choose. Like, nah. For me, I was very blessed with every opportunity that I was given and every opportunity that was presented to me. I mean, obviously, I'm never the type of person, like, I will talk to any coach, any college coach, whether they're NAIA, RMAC, Division two, Division three. Like, it does not matter to me what division you're in, because at the end of the day, ball is ball, and if you're going up to the next level, you're going up there for a reason. So I'm never going to discredit any colleges, and I'm never going to discredit any teams, because I mean, if they saw that I would be a good fit for their program, and if they saw that I was a good enough player to play at that next level, then I mean, I'm nothing but thankful at the end of the day, because they didn't have to take that chance to reach out to me and to talk to me. So I mean, with that, I'm nothing but thankful, and I'm nothing but blessed for the opportunity to really just go and talk to these coaches. Yeah.
Very nice. And I mean, you talked about it a bit there with like coaches reaching out to you and how all those and how all that really looked.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a new world when it comes to recruiting. Like the tips that some of your coaches know or knew when they were getting recruited back in the day, that they probably don't work as well because of social media and all that.
Yep.
So how has social media impacted your perspective on the sport, your perspective on your recruiting, and your individual spotlight?
My perspective on the sport is always going to stay the same. There are some points in times where I see kids in different states, and I see kids like I just see different kids just getting a lot of big school offers. And I mean, my perspective on the game is always going to stay the same. I always love the game, but I do think that you have the proper connections, you have the proper recruiting, you're going to be able to do whatever you want to do. Like, if you have a good coach that's good at recruiting and has a lot of connections, you have good film, he's going to get you to a bigger and better school than somebody that isn't as fortunate with that. Um, and I mean, for me, social media, for me, I think it helped out a little bit. I mean, I don't really post my football stuff as much as other kids. I mean, I love football just as much as the next person, but I'm not one to usually brag and boast and post a lot about my football, because it's something that I love to do. I don't find no need to post it 24/7. So um, I mean, that's always going to stay the same, and so is my perspective on the sport too.
Very nice. Yeah, it's I mean, some things change, but a lot of things when it comes to the sport are going to stay the same. And
Yeah.
I mean, fingers crossed, media doesn't end up changing too much of that.
Yeah.
I mean, but, and I mean, when it comes to the media, we see a lot about, I mean, in FBS a lot, the whole conference realignment, the whole Pac-12 all of a sudden not existing
Yeah.
anymore after this year. What are your feelings on all that, like conference realignment in the FBS?
I mean, to me, realistically speaking, it doesn't necessarily matter to me. I mean, just being real, I really don't. I mean, maybe to other people there might be a significant change, but I mean, at the end of the day, like as long as it doesn't affect how I can play, how long I can play, or when I can play, then I don't really see no point. I don't really see no problem in fussing with it. I mean, as long as I can still play the game, do all that, then yeah. But also at the same time, I'm not up at that level yet where I can really comment on it because I mean, I'm not really inside of that division yet. So, I mean, hopefully one day I can make it there. But I mean, to me right now, I mean, doesn't really matter to me as long as everybody up there still gets to play ball and gets to play healthy.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. And I mean that does kind of bring me back a little bit to UNC or UNCO. And how did you choose Northern Colorado? Like how did Northern Colorado fit your needs, but both as a player and as like a person and academically?
Yeah. Um, I think it ended up fitting me because one, I'm a big family person. So since I'm very big with family, since I'm very close to family, all of my family that I talk to live inside of Colorado. So I mean with that, it wasn't really that hard to make a choice on which one I really wanted to go to because I mean it's close to them. I don't have to go too far. Um, and I mean it's nothing crazy. And then them they gave me a pretty good scholarship. And I mean, it's something that a lot of players wish that they could get. And I mean, I'm nothing but blessed that God gave me the opportunity for that. Because I mean, it's nothing but a blessing at the end of the day. Um, and I mean, academically, from what I've heard and speaking to other UNC either alumni or remaining people inside of that college, they said that they had a good like sports medicine program. So that's a main thing that I want to pursue in college. So I mean, with hearing that, obviously that's going to be a little bit intriguing. Um, and then I mean, Colorado isn't necessarily just one type of group of people. We're very diverse. So with seeing that, I mean, I've always been interested in ethnic studies. And I mean, seeing that they have a really good sports program and then seeing the diversity inside of Colorado, I'm not really going to doubt that we're that what I'm going to go study is going to bring anything bad or worse. So I think UNC was pretty easy as to which one I was going to pick, primarily because of the doubts of paying for school, being away from family, and then seeing which one I could get the best education out of.
Hey, very good there. I mean, I think Simon was also in that sports med program when he was going to school there, and I've only heard good things about it from him. So when you're looking at a career for after, then that's a very good thing to be looking at. And I mean, it looks like a couple of your teammates saw the same, or
Yes, sir.
saw similarly. So how does it feel that you'll be able to play with, I mean, not only your teammates and Lincoln and Miles, but with some of your former guys who were on the opposite teams from you? I mean, like Dylan Berry from Regis Jesuit, he's going up there. Uh,
Yeah.
Cam Chappa and Corey Jackson from Eagle Crest, along with Jermaine Amaya. Like, how does it feel to see some of the names that used to be on the opposing rosters on the same team as you?
Um, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really feel no sort of way. Um, I mean, we're all going for the same goal. I'm never gonna have any like hatred towards them or any biasy, because I mean at the end of the day, like they're just going up to go pursue their dreams just as much as I am. And I'm not gonna be, like I said, I'm not gonna hold any bias, or I'm not gonna be rude or anything, because at the end of the day, when we get up there, we're not Eagle Crest and Fountain Fort Carson. When we go up there, we're UNC Bears together. So I mean, to me, at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter, because we're going to be teammates either way. So, I mean, the only thing that I really can do is just be supportive, and I mean, just try to build a new relationship. And I mean, shoot, just talk to them. I mean, I don't really have no self harbor between them. And I mean, I ain't got no, no hatred, no anything. So, I mean, I'm just excited to go see what we can do together.
Fair enough. And I wasn't trying to get you to say anything. I was just wondering, like, because
Yeah.
it's like up here at CSU, like that eventually every once in a while I run into guys that I used to compete against and run into, and sometimes I'm just like, man, you remember that one time when Coach Coach Beckman ended up tripping on that fake bone someone left out in the hallway, and then becomes a whole thing to. I mean, it could really help team bonding, like in the long run, of thinking about those old times going against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think about, like, because you're going to be interacting with some guys from some of the lower classifications as well, because they've got a couple of recruits from like down at Green Mountain, Lutheran, a whole boatload of 4A guys. Are you looking forward to seeing like how the different classifications affect their style of play?
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I don't really think that classifications mean anything when we go up to the next college level. Um, because at the end of the day, somebody could be in 3A, I could be in 5A, but I mean, shoot, if the kid can play ball, the kid can play ball. So I'm not gonna sit here and think like, okay, well, that kid came from 3A, so obviously he's not that good. Cause nah, I mean, if you're getting recruited from D1, you was inside of a 2A conference, boy, you're good. And you're pretty darn good. So I'm not gonna sit here and discredit you, because you're the one that put in the work. So out of anything, I'm most likely gonna be praising, and I'm most likely gonna be happy for him, because that's amazing.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. Yeah, those. And let me tell you, somebody I think you'll really like. Okay, so let's say you're in college you and somebody comes to you and they say, I am the NIL deal genie. If you want a deal with a company, I will get it for you. What is your dream NIL deal that you would ask for in that situation?
Um, I don't. I mean, I don't really have a specific NIL deal. I'm just being real. I think that, well, realistically speaking, I mean, if I could get it from some big brand, I mean, that would be a blessing. Like, if I could get an NIL deal from, shoot, I don't even know, just some random big company that's good, I would not be complaining. But also at the same time, I feel like, I mean, I'd just be blessed enough to receive an NIL deal, because I know that them things, they pay you quite generously. So I mean, I think, um, if I was to ever receive an NIL deal, and an NIL offer, I mean, shoot, I'd be nothing but thankful and grateful, because them things come with a lot of money, and them things come with sometimes enough money to, shoot, farewell, either give you a good enough life for the rest of your life or help you set life straight. So I mean, if I was able to receive one, I'd be nothing but grateful. But I think a dream one would definitely have to be just some big company. I'm not picky.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, if it's the type of money that can help you start setting up some generational wealth,
Yep,
that would be beautiful.
without a
And
doubt.
fingers crossed that you get that at some point, because Yeah, I know everybody's chasing it, but it takes those with the right work ethic to get it.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, backtracking a little bit, I just realized, but looking at it, this season, Northern Colorado, or this off season, Northern Colorado, we have 18 in-state players who we have seen who have committed to the Bears. That's 5 more than the runner-up Colorado Mesa. What do you think that Northern Colorado is doing differently to attract in-state recruits? And like, yeah, I mean, I know you're not like their recruiting coordinator, but what do you think there?
I think the things that they just do differently is really just doing, their homework on kids inside of Colorado. And there's no discredit to the other Colorado colleges, but when you look at the Buffs, when you look at the Rams, you see they're in-state colleges, but they recruit out of state more than they do in-state. And I think the thing that really attracts a lot of in-state kids is the fact that they recruit in-state kids. And it gives them a lot of hope, and it fills them up with a lot of motivation to really be like, okay, like this is a D1 school, a big D1 school. They're trying to recruit me, and I'm a kid inside of Colorado, and a lot of Colorado kids that I've talked to do not think that they have the opportunities to go D1. So when you see something like that knocking at your door, it's nothing but intriguing. So I think that's what's really intriguing to them. It's just the fact that they like to stay inside of Colorado, and they like to find all the hidden gems and just staying true to their roots.
Very good. I mean, it's a Colorado school with Colorado guys. They're gonna do the best by Colorado, and
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna put on for the box.
Yes, sir. Without a doubt.
Yeah, it's always good to see. And soon enough, you're going to be repping for the box on the national level, playing teams like Sacramento State and probably North Dakota State and South Dakota State. And now that your high school career is over and you're looking at that next level and what you're going to need to do to be successful there, what are your goals? What's your outlook, and what are your goals for college football?
My goal for college ball really is just to do the best that I can. Obviously be the best running back that I can be, not only for UNC but for myself. I'm going there for a reason, and I want to help them out, and I want them to help me out. I want to help them become the best team that they can be, and I want them to help me become the best running back that I can be. So I think that's really the main thing that I'm going there and really happy about, is the fact that they're not only just recruiting me only because I'm a Colorado kid, but I think that they're just, I don't know, there's just something about UNC. I think that, I don't know, like I said, the main thing that I'm looking out of them is just to just become the best running back that I can be, help them and have them help me, and hopefully make it on to the next level. So, that's really the main thing. It's just becoming the best running back that I can be, the best man I can be, and helping them. And if we can both do that, then that's all that I'm looking for. And if they can help me move on to the next level.
Very good. And you talked about it there. You got a lot of guys who you're hoping can help you get there and help you get to that next level. And yeah, you've talked a lot about while we've been talking about gratitude and the people around you, which makes me wonder, would you ever consider coaching, like any level, professional, college, high school, back even like middle school or peewee?
Oh yeah, I've always found it interesting coaching, because I think that with the right coach, it can push you inside of the right direction. And so, I mean, I've always been interested in the idea of coaching, because I think that it's truly something that's like you can provide something that other things can't provide. And a lot of people, they go to sports as a secondary like outlet. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to coach, whether that's Pee Wee, moving up to middle school, moving up to high school, all that. I would love to coach.
Very good. Something kind of funny is so far there's not been a single guy that hasn't that has said no, they wouldn't consider coaching, which is
Yeah.
pretty interesting. I think that speaks to the character of the coaches here in Colorado. And I mean, you talked about like going back and helping those kids get on the right path.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And yeah, and one thing that I always wonder about, because I've thought about a couple of times, if you all of a sudden woke up and it was what year would your freshman year be, like 2019, 2020? But you,
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah. So the version of you that's here right now, you were back in 2000 and back in like 2019, 2020,
Mhm.
and you're in front of your house the very first day of high school, first day of freshman year. What advice would you give to a freshman version of yourself? Recruiting, on the field, relationships, academics, just any of it.
Um, Definitely on the academic part, do not slack off. But I mean, every athlete probably has the same relative answer. Um, just making sure that the athlete just keeps up on the academic part just as much as they do on the athletic part. Um, and I would definitely say for football recruiting, just make sure that you're pushing yourself out there, making sure that you get your name known. I mean, just doing things that you need to do in order to get your name noticed. That's definitely something else. But I mean, other than that, I think I've kept myself pretty much the same from my freshman year all the way till now. But those are the two things that I think that I would preach the most to a freshman me.
Very good. And I mean, you've talked about it a lot. You've had a lot of people along the way and a lot of different influences that have helped you to get to where you're at now. Being able to put yourself up and say, I'm one of the best. But not only that, but being able to acknowledge when other people and other teams are great. And now that we're getting towards the end of this, that this is the time for you to express gratitude to the people around you. Is there anybody in particular you'd like to mention who's been important to your academic or athletic career who you'd like to thank, like your friends, significant others, families, coaches, and fellow players?
Oh, of course. Obviously, once again, I got to give my praise up to the highest Almighty. Like I said earlier, without Him, none of this is possible. I put my true faith and trust in God. And I mean, I've been nothing but thankful for everything that He has blessed me with. And there's nothing but thanks up to the highest Almighty. But other than that, um, my family. My family has always been a big part of my academic and athletic part of my career. And I mean, just with all of my athletic success, I mean, I have to give a lot of it to my family. Like, there's nobody that is more supportive. Like, even with all of my mistakes, there's not one person that I could think of that is more supportive than my mom, my dad, my brother, my auntie, my uncle. Like, it's my whole family. Just seeing the support and love that I get from my family, and seeing how much they just support me on my dreams, and how much they want me to succeed throughout my athletic career. It's really heartwarming. And I just want to express my gratitude to them, because without my family, especially my brother, my mom, and my dad, I mean, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have done half of the things that I have today. Um, and they're always going to be my number one supporters. Always going to be the people that I give my gratitude to, and I would also like to give my gratitude to a lot of my younger coaches, specifically one younger coach that really sticks out only because he's believed in me for so long, and that was my younger Park and Rec lead coach, Coach Octavius. I mean, just such a great, genuine guy. Always believed in me from being a running back from the jump. Um, I mean, he's shown me what a true coach should look like and how true support should look like outside of family. And I mean, I'm just nothing but thankful for everybody. I mean, my friends, I got my close friends. I got Michael, my homeboy Michael. I got some others, but just seeing the support from a lot of my friends and family and friends that I consider family, it's just truly heartwarming. And I thank you for giving me the time to give in gratitude to them because they all deserve it a lot more than I deserve this.
I am very glad that you're giving all that to the people who helped you here. Just remember, you deserve everything.
Yes,
You've
sir.
worked hard for it. It's not like we were born with silver spoons.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, you worked hard to get here.
Obviously, I gave my credit to my family already and to my close friends. But I do want to say thank you to everybody that has supported me throughout my time and throughout my years. And I mean, I'm nothing but thankful for everybody. Obviously, my family is always going to be my root, my friends. But I mean, I just want to give my thanks not only to them, but I want to say thank you to the community. I want to say thank you to my teammates. I want to say thank you to really everybody that has supported me, knowing who they are, knowing if you've given me support. I just want to say thank you. Your support has been taken into consideration and to the heart, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today without all of you. And without all of you, I'm nobody. So thank you.
Very, very good job there, Mathias. Thank you very, very much as well, Mathias, for coming on. We're really glad to have been able to watch you perform on the level that you have for the past couple of years. I mean, just really amazing performances all around week after week. But not just that, but it was really nice to be able to get to know you, get to know your influences, get to know a little bit more about you as a person rather than seeing the blue, red, white, and the shield. And well, I mean, not the shield, but the sword. And I mean, yeah, this was just lovely having you on. Thank you very, very much. And thank you all for listening. We couldn't do this without everybody listening to this as well. And, you know, if you enjoyed today's episode, we'd ask that you listen to a couple of our other interviews. You can follow us on Twitter at Playmaker Corner. That is PlaymakerCorner at Twitter. That one. Then you can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Playmakers Corner. I'm not going to make the mistake of trying to spell that one out again, but I just hope that everybody who's listening has a great day. I hope that you all stay hydrated, stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully I'll catch you around at some of these Colorado high school games. Peace.